Yeah.
I do. So does this LWV California, does that make you Aramis?
Yes. Sorry, I probably should have updated that. Yeah, I'm Amaris. I
Greece.
am part of
Okay.
the MyLO team customer service face that you see most
Meet
often.
you officially.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. And thank you for joining us. We usually start out with people's questions, and I actually got Lynette Pearson's question earlier. Let me make sure that she is still, okay, she is rejoining us. She had a question about being able to, I have it here in the draft. She wanted to be able to have the Vote 411 widget over to the left, or just to be able to wrap text around it. So we'll be able to jump into this. You make sure that this was actually, while Lynette is connecting, we'll just jump right into it, and she can ask for
Yeah,
any
sorry
questions
about
no
my
worries,
camera. I'm not sure what's up with my camera.
It's
so.
all good. We can hear you perfectly. And so I'm going to jump right into how I was able to do this. The main thing was that I added a table rather than putting the widget, the embed code, just directly into the body. When that happens, it doesn't allow you to wrap anything else around the widget because the widget will just take up that entire area of the content from left to right. So we solve that by putting it into a table, and then we can manipulate the table and say, this table should be formatted to be left justified or right justified, and then the text outside of that table would wrap around. So let's go in here first. Let me masquerade so that my interface will look like a webmaster's. Okay. So I'm just editing the draft because this is where I have it. Because I'm working with embed code, which is generating that Vote 411 widget, I have it set to full HTML. But I can jump over to WYSIWYG without messing with the widget so that I can make any necessary changes. So why don't I actually recreate what I have? I'm going to recreate it here down at the bottom. So jumping back over to full HTML, I am doing this so that I can copy the embed code. And if you don't already have the embed code to the Vote 411 widget, what I did to get it was, I think I really just looked up Vote 411 widget. You could add embed code, but I think just the first two terms will be good enough. And this is coming from the National League site. You have the option of, I guess, the QR code. You could add in the image, upload the image to the media library, or use the one with the logo, the widget with the logo or without, and copy that entirely. And so we'll leave this as WYSIWYG. So I can just get rid of that. There we go. Okay. So I'm coming in with a blank slate now. I have the widget embed code copied. The easiest way to go about working with embed code is to go with the body with embed code section and add it into a new box. So paste that in because we first want to have the embed code. It is going to be a little bit, well, actually, sorry, it would be messier starting out with the widget. I'm going to actually get rid of this for now. Let's add the table in first because we'll start from the outside in. So starting off by using the insert edit table icon here, We'll reduce the column and rows down to 1 each. And the alignment is going to be left. On top of that, if you want the table or the text outside of the table to wrap around the table, you also need to specify the class as either left justify or float image left. And let me zoom in a bit here. So left justify and float image left should give you the same result of the text wrapping around the table. And then we insert. So we start out in WYSIWYG because it's much easier to just drop the table in that way. And now we want to jump over to full HTML. If you are a little weary of making this swap, and the necessary part to find is in between the table rows, instead of having to rely on finding this yourself, what you can do before you make the swap is type in some word that will tell you what to look for. So if I type in the word dino into the middle of the table, once I swap to full HTML, I know that I need to get rid of dino. What this represents here, if you ever come across that, it's just a non-breaking space. It's an empty space. And what it does is it won't fall to the next line. But it's pretty harmless. If you ended up leaving it there, it would be fine. But preferably get rid of all of that to replace it with that embed code. So now when I swap back to WYSIWYG, I should have my embed code or the widget generated inside the table. And once I click back in to place my cursor down, because this is floating image left now, here my text is to the left or to the right. You can go back in just by clicking your cursor into that table, go back into insert edit table. And the alignment, if you left it as not set, that actually works too. The class, you can change that to float image right or right justify. Let's try right justify just to show you either one. So either way, you still have the option to move it left or right if you'd like. But I'm going to leave that left to show it off better with the text wrapping. And then because we have embed code, it's necessary to change that back to full HTML, and then you can go ahead and save. This is, I can leave that as a draft because it's within the body. There we go. That's going to be the easiest way to manipulate the placement of that.
Okay, thank you. What was the purpose of typing the dino word in again?
That was to be able to find your place, the specific place where you need to place or paste in the embed code.
Okay, so you type in dino, and then your cursor is at the end of the O, and then you hit paste.
Yes, and it can be any word. Let me drop in another table again here. So more, there we go. Whoops. So when I drop in a table from the WYSIWYG side, it's easy for me to see from here where the inside of the table is. But as soon as I swap this to full HTML, it's pretty hard for me to know exactly where the inside of the table is. Because if I place the embed code in the wrong spot, it's not going to be properly placed inside of the table. The way to know where the inside of the table is by simply looking for this non-breaking space code. But instead of having to rely on that, that was where the suggestion of typing in a word like whatever, even if it's some gibberish, just recognizing what that word is that you just typed in. Now you know what part to get rid of and exactly where to paste in your information.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, and you can see here the non-breaking space was left off to the left of the widget. From the WYSIWYG side, if you did want to get rid of that, you can. Whoops. Let me take that back. It's probably easier to get rid of that from here. Here we go. Save yourself the headache of having to re-add it in. But it, again, is not a big deal if you leave a space either on the left or the right of the widget.
Okay.
I thought you were going to make a 2-column table and put the text in the second column.
And that is an option too. That is definitely what you can do too. If you'd like to have the text kind of remain wrapped near the widget, then yeah, that would be a better way to use a column. If you continue, oh, I didn't make this one left. Let's use this one down here. So if you continue with the text here, it's going to, the width of the text, or it's going to extend to the width of the page, rather than if you're using a column, the text kind of extends to a certain point, and depending on if you have additional columns, it adjusts automatically.
I've been having trouble centering tables. Is that, maybe it isn't possible. When you make a table, you want the whole, I thought I'd done it before, that you could center the whole table.
Let's try that out with what I have here. I'm going to just get rid of this widget. I have some text. Okay. The best way will probably be through the insert edit table. And then either alignment or class has that option too, but let's try alignment.
Alignment, maybe that, I didn't try that.
And we're going to save it as WYSIWYG first. I'm also thinking if it doesn't give us the expected result, we could try saving it as full HTML. Okay, no. So that
That worked.
alignment should be the one to use.
Thank you.
Definitely. Did anybody else have any questions, even
Well,
unrelated?
Amaris, while you were on that page, is it easy to add? Because I was just noticing we don't have the QR code on our Vote 411. And actually, I'm on my phone looking, and I clicked Vote 411, and I'm so ignorant on my phone. When I click it, nothing shows up. It just says vote411.org at the top. And I
But
don't
you're
even know
not
how to.
seeing any page,
I'm
any
not seeing any
content on the
pages.
page.
Is that something that we did wrong?
No, if you're seeing Vote 411 at the top,
It's just the
vote411.org.
word. It's just the URL. If I were on my website, yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
on my
that should
phone.
give you the content of the page, like what we're seeing here. So it's odd that you're not getting that result.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Yeah, because if
It's just
you
weird.
are seeing vote411.org in the top, that means the link you created is correct and
Yeah.
is working.
So is it something I just don't know about how to use my phone?
You might try visiting try visiting google.com, see if other websites are working on your phone.
Oh, well, okay. But in answer to my question, because I wanted to see, well, maybe there's a,
Yeah, let me hop over to your site to see specifically which button you're talking about. Okay, this
Yeah,
one here.
so- Yeah,
Oh, how odd.
this is scary.
Let's see. It could just be, okay. It just took a while. Let's see what, when we visit vote411.org, does it add?
It
Let's
came
see
up
if
right
adding the
away.
www will make a difference, because right now, what your button is leading to is just the protocol,
Oh.
HTTPS, and vote411.org. We're going to just add the www and see if that makes a difference.
Because that's one of the first things I think that you did for us.
Yeah, and it should work. I know that that has worked before.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what the difference is. I'm gonna go ahead and masquerade as you before I jump in here, and let me zoom out a little bit more. Are the oh well, you might not be able to see the screenshots of us. I was wondering if they were overlapping the content of my page, but they're probably not currently for any of you. Okay, so I'm in a new draft of the homepage so that I can reach the sidebar content. That's where the image is. And so let's
link. Okay.
update the insert edit links. I just want to add www.vote411.org so that that's what we're specifying. And let's see if that makes a difference. Because it's a sidebar content change, we do need to publish it to see it be applied. Okay. There we go.
Well, I mean, do you think that's something because of some security thing that happened on MyLO or something? Because I'm sure it worked at one time.
I suspect it to be something with their domain. I'm not sure exactly what is going on, but www is a subdomain of vote411.org. So their actual domain, which is simply vote411.org, for some reason is no longer connecting as easily, it seems like. So if anybody else is getting that issue of you're seeing the link get stuck, or it's just taking a really long time, you might try adding www using the subdomain instead as a destination.
So I'm trying it on my phone again. See what happens. I started fresh. And it's still coming up as vote411.org.
You have to refresh it.
Well, I did. So maybe I'll try turning it off later then, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and it could be just trying it a little bit later. It
Yeah.
should be there.
Okay. But I did have a question about something that just real simple while you're on there.
Yeah.
An article I did just because I wanted to get something up for Sunshine Week.
Mhm.
And you can see it if you, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I only put the first line because I don't, well, two things. I don't like to have things like in the middle, and then read more.
Oh, I
And
see.
so
Yeah.
I know one time I was able to somehow get to, what did they call it? A summary box.
Mhm.
So I was able to kind of fool around with that. But another specific thing to this one, if you go back to the front page, how do I, how do I get it so that participation is lining up with LVW?
Oh, I see.
Maybe it has something to do with the logo.
It does.
I
You'll
thought.
notice that this one, just
Yes,
because the
okay.
picture's longer.
Okay.
What you, I would suggest kind of what Liz usually does. I know that Liz uses one certain image for main
Oh.
image and then uses a different image for alternate hero image. The only difference you would need, Mary Jo, between the image files would be just adding white space maybe to the bottom of the main image so that the height is just as far down as maybe here so that the word participation will align over here with the text or with LWV. Does that make sense?
You mean like I would just like put spaces in there sort of before
The
I,
image, you would have to edit it outside of MyLO
Yeah.
and add white space to it. So
oh, I see, to
like
the image
paint
itself.
3D, yeah. And
Oh.
so even just simply when you're working in paint, extending the canvas, and that should hopefully save the image as just a bit longer. You can add a color to the background if you wanted, but white space would suffice. So that the white space would show up here. It wouldn't really, impact the like the use of this summary, but it would give you that look that you're looking for so that the text aligns this way.
Okay, so I guess I'll try and fool around with the logo itself. But so where do you think, if I went back into draft or whatever it is, where do you think I saw that where it said the summary page?
Oh yeah. When you get into the new draft, it's going to be right above the body. If that summary isn't open,
Okay, there it is. All right.
yeah. If it's in hidden mode, it's going to be right next to the body where you can bring it back. So clicking edit
Okay.
summary will bring that field back.
So maybe I was in moderate instead of new. What did you have?
New draft.
New
And then
draft.
if you
Maybe
had a draft edit.
maybe I'd moderate or something. Yeah. Okay. And then when I was in the summary, could I have fooled around with the wording there? Maybe not.
You can, but because different users have different screen sizes, it's
Oh,
not going
okay.
to be the same.
Okay, so it's not a good idea. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more reliable to fool around with the image.
Okay.
So that the edited image that you have added extra space at the bottom to would be used here in the main image. And then this original Sunshine Week image would be used here as the alternate hero.
Okay, I'll have to fool with that. And then getting back to the vote 411 and the QR code, is that a hard thing to do? I was just thinking we should probably have that.
The
Should
QR
we?
code,
For phones?
I think, yeah, but most of, well, this is probably up to your team to decide. A lot of your visitors will probably already be on mobile, but what I think the QR code does is bring them to the website. So you do have
Oh,
a
so we're already
clickable
doing
button.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
No
sorry.
worries.
Got it. Thank you.
But
I'm done.
I definitely, if you wanted to look into the QR code, I'm not sure if it brings you to the widget, like to be able to download that. I'm not sure
Yeah,
exactly
no,
what it's doing.
you answered my question. Sorry.
Okay. No worries. Thank you. And I got a question here from Roberta Barino. Thank you. How do you remove a photo from the slideshow? That is a very good question. Let's go ahead and pop out, and I'm going to just masquerade as our general demo user. And do you mean specifically the, oops, like the image that's associated with a slideshow? You'd like to change that, or did you want to just turn off an entire slideshow item from displaying?
Take one out. You can put
Okay.
them in easily, but I know I've done it before, and it was I thought it was managed content.
Yeah, that is going to be the way to get to where you can edit your slideshow items.
Doesn't
yeah,
work
go
on
in.
mine then. Something's wrong then.
It could be The search function up here, if you've ever used it before, it remembers your previous search. So if you have it set to action alerts, you're not going to see any slideshow items, obviously. So maybe check that to make sure that you're seeing all of your
Get
content.
there. I must be doing things in the wrong place then. Because I can't get to there anymore. I mean, from the administer site menu,
Mhm.
it's manage content, right?
Yeah, and the administer league site menu, whoops, let me go back, is on the home page, and a few other places like the action alerts, the calendar, members only positions. But yeah, they'll all offer
Okay,
the
I click
menu.
on manage content and I just have a clock.
It doesn't load up. And any of the other manage links, like the other management links, they load
We
up.
can manage menu.
And manage members and files does come up for you as well.
I don't know that I use those. I'm kind of with training wheels.
No
Well,
worries.
I don't mind it. Why don't we look at it? Maybe,
Yeah, I'm gonna see if it might be specific to you as a user. Whoops. But I'm not sure. We haven't had any other issues with that. Whoops, Roberta, is it a space in between maybe?
I think it's spelled wrong. I think there's only one
Oh, okay,
B,
I see it here. One R here.
one R, rather, yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be like taking your kid to the pediatrician. It's going to work now.
No, I think it is specific.
Or the car dealer.
I think it's
Yeah,
specific to your league. So definitely thank you for bringing this up because we do want to get the tech team on this. It should be loading up.
okay, good. So it's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, power to vote was over in September.
Oh, I think you'd be forgiven.
Okay. Oh, no, that was the name of our state league's fundraising luncheon.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make that an urgent matter for the team.
So I didn't see what happened. Are you on a homepage right now?
Yes, I clicked on
Right.
manage content and it is still
Oh,
swirling and loading. So that
Oh,
is all that has
okay.
happened.
Wow. Well, it's
Yeah.
good you brought it up, Roberta.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
Am I doing things in the wrong? I do it always in this screen, and you've been working in the other screen that I never use.
I'm not sure which you're referring to. The other screen.
My account, is that?
Oh, that I used to just jump around to the home page. But you're working in the right spot. If you're working from
Okay.
here, this is the main the home page is kind of like your main edit area, just because the home page you have a lot of other things that you can manage, like subscriptions in the sidebar, and then it gives you your administer league site menu. So yeah, you're doing fine.
Okay, one other question, as long as we're, golly, right when we were first putting our MyLO up, we have a service area that it used to say underneath League of Women Voters of Roselle Bloomingdale, it said also serving Hanover Park, Itasca, and Medina. And there was some problem that we had to take that tagline or whatever it's called down because it was it was not showing properly. So everybody was supposed to take whatever that was down.
Right.
Can we put it back up? Is it fixed, whatever that was, or?
It is fixed. The only thing with folks or leagues using the top menu,
This was above the top menu. This was,
It does
right
interfere with it.
with the
Because
tab. Oh, okay.
they do kind of overlap each other, and especially on mobile, it's a little bit worse, that
Okay.
overlap. So that's the only reason you can't have them together, but definitely if your league swapped the menu to the left again, they would automatically come back up. Or if you
Thought we had to
if you
take
change
it
the
down
colors.
though.
You did,
At
yeah. There
least-
was a time that it wasn't working properly, but that has all been fixed. They all should be back and showing up for all leagues that are using them with their menu on the side.
Oh,
It's
the
just
menu then goes
there's-
down the side, not across the top. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, just
Okay,
because
we don't
this
wanna
is like
do
the
that.
same real estate that call out was using.
Gotcha, understood. Thank you.
Definitely.
But on the menu, is it possible to have two levels showing? I mean, when you hold down one, you get the other things underneath it. But is there a way that if you choose one of the ones underneath it, you could see the rest of some of the underlying menus? You know, where it's 3D, 3 deep.
Oh, I see, like a little bit further. Let's see, I think
I have one where it
it's a little
shows
bit further.
it says get involved, but the actual top thing has longer and it puts a little arrow next to it. So you can see the rest of it, that there's
Yeah.
something more there.
Liz, which is your league again?
Wheaton, Illinois.
Being overrun by Illinois today.
Pardon?
You,
Amaris is being overrun by Illinois today.
There. Okay, so there it is.
and
Huh.
so is this what you're referring to? That little,
Yeah, but I don't think I saw it that way. That's the way I want it to work.
oh, okay. That's just how it is up here. Maybe over here, is that where you're thinking of?
No, that's the way I wanted it.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't doing that for me. Maybe it just needed a little refreshing. It needed to
Possibly.
rest. Yeah, because I wanted to show the sub menu right
Awesome.
there, and it wasn't showing. That's good.
Oh,
Okay.
possibly. Do you mean to if I travel away? Oh no, it stays showing. Okay, no.
That's good. Okay.
I have a question here from Maddie Park. Since you were talking about alignment, if I want to place an object like a graphic on the right and place text to the left of it with the text right justified against the image, how would I do that? That is an awesome question. Let's actually see if I'm masquerading. I'm already on it. We'll use this window. And let's edit the home page. So I'm just going to continue using this area to use the demo. I need to drop in an image first, so I'll use the media browser and just select from all files. Here we go. That's hopefully a small image. And we can make that even smaller so that we actually see it change. So we can format this image now, just so that as we start typing our text afterwards, we can see kind of where it's going to lay. Again, the left justify or float image left and then float image right versus right justify are pretty interchangeable. Just for my own preferences, I like to use the float image options for images. And then you just start typing your text. Let's see if I just keep pasting this in. Whoops. All right, let's see before I make the change there. Okay, so I started adding the text to the line directly above where I dropped the image. So that's the reason why this is just text directly above the image. So that tells me I need to go one line down, and now I'm technically below the image. So that means everything is going to align to the left of it or wrap around the left of the image. And as we keep going, let's just keep adding to see what it looks like when we go under. It continues to wrap around. And then same thing as the table, we still have the option to, resize it, or we can change it to float image left. If you do that, unselect float image right, and then select float image left. If you don't unselect it and just add float image right, you have added both of those. And whichever was first takes priority. And so you won't see the change. If you go that route, just go in and select again, float image left, and you'll see it pop on over.
I had a lot of trouble with that initially because I thought the left and right justify caused the text to be left or right justified. And it turned out that's not how it worked. But I still haven't figured out how to make the text right justified. Is it possible to do that?
It should be with those styles. You are going to need to highlight the section that you want to see right justified, and just by adding it there. So
what did you
more
click
section.
on there?
I selected what I want, and then for the styles, I selected right justify.
So it does right justify the text if you select the text.
Mhm.
Now, what if you put that right justified text next to a float right image?
It won't go past the image.
So like all that text that you
Right.
have there next to it. If I wanted that, yeah.
Let's see if I add it here. Okay, I'm gonna have to add that back. If we right justify, it jumps under the image.
Okay, that's what was happening. So I guess I can't do that.
Yeah, because technically, because it's jumping under the image, if the content area allowed for it, this would be to the right of the image. But because this image is as far right as is allowed, it's forcing that next line that is also right justified to just be right below it and to the right.
Would it be possible to do it with tables? If I had two columns in a table, could I right justify the text within the first column and put the image in the second column? Would that be
I believe so. Yeah. With tables, you can manipulate the either the alignment of the table itself, where the table is going to display on the page, or the text within each like cell or row. You can say that you want it to all be going one way, and that's with the class. The alignment has to do with the exterior, the entire table itself. Let's add one in and just add some text. Whoops. Hopefully we'll use that sentence that I kept using so that we can see what it looks like left and right justified. And if we copy this image, let's add one more column. And I'm going to merge those cells just to make that easier to put the image in. Okay, so the idea is that some text, I'm not sure exactly how you'd want this laid out.
Yeah, like that, basically.
Okay. So what I just did was just selecting the styles here. Actually, instead of going that route, what I'd actually suggest is, so instead of selecting, when you're working with a table specifically, instead of selecting the text and using this styles dropdown, I would suggest using either the table row properties or the table cell properties. because when I selected the text and used styles, what you can kind of see, like very lightly, it has created a new cell within that cell. So you can see a very light line added in, and I definitely don't want to add another cell within a cell. So with your cursor in that cell or row, or highlight it, however, choose table row or table cell properties. And this way we can select the class, because the class is going to have the same options as the styles, but the class is specifically for a table.
Okay.
And then we can right justify. And yeah, the class is the only thing required. Oh, the vertical alignment is one thing that you can do. It's just where it's going to sit within the cell, the text itself. I think it might have done the same
How would
thing.
this be impacted if I were to look at it on a phone, you know, on a much narrower screen? Would that be an issue? I mean, it would probably stretch out the text, right? And the image would stay tiny.
Yeah, I think that that's most likely going to be it. What we can do too, let me save what I have so far so that we can see what it looks like on the computer. And actually, you know, that what I thought was going to be an extra cell is not showing up as I thought it would. So that's good. It is going to allow you to align text to the right with no issue. But I also want to point out that with your browser, you can typically look at the page as a mobile user would. So I'm using, what am I using? Internet Explorer, I think. Microsoft Edge. And this works in Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox. I haven't tried it in Safari, but it probably does too. All those others, when you right click on a web page, you can inspect an element or inspect the web page. Once you select inspect, there's usually a bar across the top of the web page. And there's a little set of drop downs that allows you to choose between kind of some very popular phone brands so that you can see what those folks are seeing. You can see what an iPad is seeing. And then the other thing too, with these kind of, you're mimicking the mobile interface, you get to switch between like landscape. So like holding the phone straight up and down, this is what we're seeing. But if they flipped it to the side, this is what you would see.
That's a really great shortcut. I've been like just making my browser smaller, you know, because that also moves everything around. But
yeah, as far as the pixel size. Yeah, so
yeah.
this is built into pretty much every major browser to be able to inspect. And yeah, this is, Maddie, like you said, the image scrunches down when it is straight, like the portrait look at the phone went straight up and down. But obviously
Yeah,
grows a
it's
little
probably
bit.
not a very good way to do it, actually. I'll just live with the not being able to right justify the text. It looks like there's too many issues with doing it this way.
And Amaris, you got to this by just right clicking on any web page, or how did you get there again?
Yeah, so I right clicked and I selected inspect. And let me show it over here on this browser as well. So I'm on Chrome. I right click and it's the same inspect. There's a shortcut as well, Control Shift I, but right click and inspect should always be there. And we have
Well,
this.
except if you're a Mac person.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right. Yeah, that
Amaris?
shortcut may not work.
Amaris, this is Mary Jo. I'm looking at my website now, and the first time I did it, it said doesn't work in IE7. So I don't know. So I went over to Chrome, and now it says some messages have been moved to the issues panel. tracking prevention blocked access to storage for URL. So I don't know what that means.
And that was when you were trying to visit your site?
The inspect thing.
Oh, I see.
It also, it says blocked access, so tracking prevention. I wonder what that is.
It-
No idea.
Maybe try with a different browser possibly. And
Well, but I use Chrome. Shouldn't I be able to use Chrome?
because it makes me think that that might be maybe an ad blocker or some kind of setting that you have
Yeah, maybe I
enabled with
Did
Chrome.
accidentally or something. Darn.
So because if it does work with a different browser,
Yeah.
then that means that something needs to be changed with Chrome, or you might see if Chrome needs to be updated.
No,
Um,
I'm gonna
we
call the
can-
Geek Squad.
there you go.
I did want to tell you, Amaris, that, well, two questions. When you were working with the other thing about the vote 411, you changed the size. Now, could I have done that with my logo also? You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I mean, right when I'm working on it, because it sounded like I had to go back to the media library, but I don't.
Right. No, you don't. As far as the like resizing of an image and keeping its original kind of, how do I put this? Rather than editing to it and adding any space, you can just resize it and proportionately make it smaller or bigger. But then the solution with the Sunshine Week image was to not just resize the picture so that it's blown up, it's keeping the picture the same, ratio, size, and just elongating the canvas of the image.
Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but I did try, I downloaded, I turned my phone off and I went back in, and other websites on my website do work, but not the Vote 411. So that is really disconcerting. So I don't know.
If it is still kind of not showing that change by a little bit later today, we can reconnect, Mary Jo, and see what can be done.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Definitely.
Amaris,
Yeah.
it's Lynette. I have a quick question. Where do you find that really cute kind of modern art picture that you had up there that says vote? That one.
Oh, I think, well, let me
I didn't
see.
see it in the media library.
Let's make sure I have that shared to everybody. Hopefully I can find that. I think that I uploaded that with my demo, and I did not. Let's go back and see if I can find it by the name. Okay. So I'm just hoping that I can copy the file name and then search for it that way in the manage files.
Mary Jo, I was able to use your button
there it
on
is.
my phone.
So it's maybe it's my phone for some
Some
reason.
kind of caching or something that it's, I don't know. This is a
Thank
iPhone.
you. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for checking, Liz.
Oh,
Huh.
you're welcome.
I'll leave the original file name there, but I'm going to rename it Vote Colorful Mural. And
Yeah, that's
thank you,
really
Lynette, 'cause
pretty.
it was not. So now I will have that displayed in the media library.
Thank you. Yeah, if you've got other pictures too, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll have to make sure. Let me see if I'll make sure that any of these demo slide pictures are actually in the media library, because I usually try to use demo pictures that are kind of related to what we do.
Do you know when I add an image, I say I have permission to do it because sometimes it's something I've made. But when I do the search later on, it doesn't come up with the ones that have permission. I don't know why it doesn't come up with permission. You know how you can limit what.
Yeah.
Well, there's two ways that you can search for an image, right? to just look for it in the media library. If you're going through manage files, let's go to view all files, because that's where we'll see the entire media library. And when we're looking at view all files, we should see author confirms permission received to share this file on MyLO. So that confirms that it is okay to be used. When you're on this interface, and these actually, I see now what you're referring to. This is, these are images that are coming in through, not by individuals, but they're coming in through an automated script, I believe, from our main California site. So that just might be a matter of making sure that the images that are uploaded through this script are kind of tagged correctly, or properly checking each box, because this is not our usual protocol to leave them as has-nots.
Well, and I mean, I don't use this interface. I use the, when I'm clicking on an image to put it in. If I'm searching that way instead of through the manage one.
We have updated that, the way that search is for the media browser. And let me pop over to the media browser. So anywhere that you have the WYSIWYG text editor, you have the media browser, or the way to reach the media browser. And with the MyLeaks files or my files or all files, you have the search here. And now the permission received is what is by default. So there are obviously some files that permission has not been confirmed. You can search by that.
But I have actually clicked the checkbox when I enter it and say that I have permission. Is that different than this permission?
It is the same
Well, it's not,
field.
but it's not working then. It's not giving it. I mean, I should be able to see it when I say permission received. I should be able to see it after I've clicked it myself with the checkbox.
And the image is not coming up for you when you
No.
search for it here.
No. So then I just go to any, because I figure, well, I'll get it that way.
Right. But, and it's an image that you have uploaded yourself.
Yes.
So, that is odd. It should be, if it's not easily seen in all files, you should see it in definitely in my files, but also in MyLeaks files.
Well, I'll confirm it. I'll do it again. I've seen it a few times, so I feel like I'm doing it right, but maybe I'm not. The other thing is, I can't seem to center my tables. Do you think we could go to my website and try to center one of the tables I'm having an issue with? Maybe I'm just not doing it right. Do the others mind?
No?
No,
Okay.
Learning.
I do wonder though, Amaris.
So it's under the voter, the one I want you to look at. Oh, you have to masquerade first, yeah.
Yeah, it's under voting and elections.
Yeah, and it's the video voter guide. It's almost at the, yeah.
Okay.
So if you scroll, you'll see that some of the tables seem like keep going.
Oh, I see.
See that, like that one. See, I'd like that centered rather than to the left, the whole table.
And is this the one, did you try the?
Yeah, I thought I tried it. So maybe I'm not, it's hard to know how to select it sometimes.
For the insert edit table button, you just have to have your cursor anywhere in the table.
So we have this table and we want to edit it. So you clicked in it someplace?
Yeah, anywhere in there. So if I click in there, we see that the insert edit table icon lights up. So yes. That tells us that we've selected the table.
Yeah.
The alignment, we want to set that to center.
I thought you said I could do the class too.
That too. I think the alignment alone will do it.
Okay,
the center,
Well, do it the way you want to do it.
No, but definitely, if the class centering refers to the text inside. So if you want the text within each cell to be
No,
centered,
I don't want that.
so then this should align the table. Let me, oh, well, let's do that first without messing with any of the others, and I'll leave it as a draft. Okay. Yeah, so just toggle
Yeah,
the
it
alignment
centered
for
It
each
worked.
one.
It worked. So you click inside it. Okay.
Mhm.
And you use the center, the first center, not the second one. I was trying to
Right.
use the second one. Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely. And Maddie, I think I saw that you were,
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could show us one more time the inspect where we could see the different views, because I was trying it in Chrome and I couldn't find it.
oh yeah. So it can be anywhere on the web page, under your bookmarks and above your toolbar, right click and inspect.
Mhm.
That should automatically bring up this is like the developers
Right.
tools.
I got that far. I just couldn't find the place where it gave me those options
Okay.
for the views.
And then from there, you should hopefully have a bar across the top of the left part of the page. No. Let's see if
I don't.
I wonder if I turned it on or off somehow.
What I have is there's two little things at the upper left of the inspection part. One of them is select element inspect, and the other one is toggle device toolbar, which I thought might be it.
Device.
So that does look like it is. I didn't notice that it changed something on the left. Yes, okay, that was it.
Oh, awesome. And what was that? What was that called? Toggle?
It was called toggle device toolbar.
Okay.
And that
Toggle
turned on that bar on the left.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So then if you're not seeing this area here, then toggle, was it within the three dots?
Yeah. I'm pointing at your screen here. You can't see that I'm doing that, but at the very top of the inspection area, there's a toolbar, and all the way to the left, there's one with a little box with an arrow. The one to the right of that, that's like two different size, like yeah, that's it.
See if I can zoom in a little more. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about here.
Right.
So
Oh,
there we go. Let me turn it off. If this is what yours looks like, then we select toggle device toolbar.
And
And
yeah.
it'll just remember whatever you had last selected.
Yep. Yay.
Awesome.
That's
Thank you,
a
Maddie.
great tool. That's a great tool.
Yeah.
But I was frustrated, but it's like, you know, when you talk it through, then you figure it out.
Exactly. Awesome. I got a question here from Lynette. Unfortunately, we won't have time to go into Google Analytics, but we are hoping to have a session dedicated to it soon. So we'll definitely be making a lot of announcements about that one in particular, because we know that a lot of people will like that.
yeah.
Because that's also we're hoping to have that session prepare us for our state convention. We're going to be using that as a resource for folks that attend our workshop.
Oh, great. Yeah, I figured it
Amaris,
wasn't
it's
a
great.
5-minute discussion, so, but I just thought I'd
Yeah.
ask in case it was.
I was trying to, figure out how I can condense it, but the math wasn't working.
Amaris, the inspect thing, is that the only way short of just trying it on your own phone to see what it looks like on the phone? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or on anybody else's phone or iPad or anything.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm constantly asking my boyfriend to look up this page, look up that page, because I will usually forget every now and then. Oh yeah, I can just inspect. Okay, well, while we're kind of getting to a lull in the questions, unless somebody else has another question.
I'm
thought-
really looking
Oh,
forward
I-
to the Google Analytics. That'll be great. Next
Yeah.
time, maybe.
I do have a question. How would you put the widget into the sidebar? I think it was Mary Jo's website has the Vote 411 widget on the sidebar.
Oh yeah, let's show that off. I'm gonna steal, so I'm already in the homepage of my demo site here. I'm gonna steal the embed code I have here. So just going from start to end. And again, that that bit of embed code, you could find it on the National League site. But come on over to your sidebar content. If you're going to use the main sidebar content window, swap that to full HTML. Otherwise, come down to the sidebar embed code and just add a new third-party embed code box and replace that text with the widget code. And the nice thing about these, you can reorder them if you want Vote 411 to be above Twitter or whatever you have. And then again, with the sidebar content changes, you always have to publish that to be able to see it.
Okay. And how did you grab it again and put it above your tweets?
Oh yeah.
I was writing and I didn't see it.
Oh, no worries. Just using those grabby handles here
Oh, okay. Okay.
and just drag and drop.
Perfect.
One thing I found out about the sidebar was that it's on every page.
It is.
And sometimes you think, oh, we want this to be really visible, but that's very visible when you have it on every page because you
Oh, yeah.
sometimes it like we have these tips for being green, you know, what to do with your recycling.
Mm.
But I really didn't want it on the page that had to do with candidates. I mean, so you have to be careful to be discriminating about how you do it.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's a good thought.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's go ahead and let's see. We have our new bit of documentation here, if it will open for me. This documentation will probably be just a lot of review for many of you, but I'm hopeful that, let's see, sorry, I'm going to apply my drop here. I'm hopeful that it will be kind of some new things and to help those that already know MyLO kind of say, oh, maybe that's what that's called, or simplify some things for you. We went through to talk about how to travel your site as a webmaster so that we can identify the different tools that are available to you. So we often talk about the Administer League site menu. You're always working with the webmaster tabs. But then we also wanted to further explain context menus. We often talk about those every now and then. Those are the little cog or gear icons that will present themselves across some content like this, like menus. And then aside from those things, it talks about the process of content moderation and what that means in MyLO, like taking things from draft to published, then to draft again, all that. And then the last bit that I find pretty helpful are the dynamic views versus content. And actually, aside from this, the last bit are the actual explanations of each content type. So you work with the content all the time, but in case you wanted to know the definitions of what they are and have a link to learn more about how to add these. That's what we have in this documentation. But like I said, the dynamic views and versus content is the place I kind of find super helpful because it talks about the list of content. The dynamic views are the action alerts, the articles, the calendar positions, members only, all those places where you aren't necessarily making changes to those pages, like you aren't making a change directly to action alerts, but you are making a change to the action alert content type. If there was anything that you have questions about, I can get into a little bit more. I thought that it might just be good to introduce the documentation to you, kind of give you a rough overview, and then let you sit with it after that. But if anybody has any questions now, definitely chirp up.
Well, what's
Where did you find that?
Yes,
Right.
that probably would be number one. And what I'm going to do too, I'll drop this in the chat, but what I'm going to do too is make sure that it's available within our documentation page. So when you travel to documentation, I'm going to make sure that it's added under best practices, content editing, quite a few of these. League front page, and it'll be under general. So it's in the chat now, so you can travel on over there, but definitely know that it'll be available soon under the documentation page.
And Amaris, when you say it, what is it? I mean, I know you just showed it to us, but is there a name for it?
It's called How to Travel Through
Oh,
Your
okay.
Site as
Oh,
a
got
Webinar.
it. Got it. Okay, thank you. Got it. Thank you.
And so hopefully this should, like I said, clarify things for you, but then also maybe give you some things where you didn't know you had that ability within your site. So yeah, and let us know if any links don't work or anything. This is a pretty fresh documentation piece.
Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about HTML. We've kind of been talking about that just in bits and pieces. Like when it comes to tables, I feel like that's where it kind of pops up the most, or embed code. But I also wanted to, let's just continue using homepage. I also wanted to give you a few, well, really one or two that are not available through the WYSIWYG toolbar. Let's use this text down here. So what I want to do is just unformat all of this. Work around with that. Okay, so we know that WYSIWYG offers the different heading styles. The idea with the heading styles is to create an outline type of format to your page, and they are supposed to be in descending order of importance. So your title is always going to be heading 1. So that's the reason why you don't see heading 1 listed here. So that, you know, the next most important thing on the page should be heading 2. So the fact that I have heading 2 down here might be a little confusing. For us who are taking in a site visually, it might not be too confusing because we can just say, okay, I can just easily scroll down to that and just see that it's kind of more visually pleasing, not based on importance. But for folks who are visiting on screen readers, they are going to be traveling the site through, often through the headings. So they'll usually start out at the page title, and then they would jump down to heading 2. So you want to make sure that the next important piece is actually set to heading 2. So that's the word that popped into my head. I would want to put heading 2 there, and then follow suit and just go with heading 3 in the next line. These headings, it definitely is a little jarring to swap over to the full HTML to see the HTML side. But what I often do when I'm using this, if I ever am trying to make changes to full HTML, I am constantly using the search bar on my browser. For Windows users, it is Control F, and I think Mac is Function F or
I think
something.
it's Command F.
Command F, thank you. So this is what I'll often use so that I can find my place. When it comes to headings, they are always going to start out with H, and then the number. So let me hop back on over to WYSIWYG really quick. Like I said, the title is heading 1. So that is represented by H1. The other heading styles that are available through WYSIWYG are heading 2, heading 3, and heading 4. Within just general HTML, there are additional heading styles that go below, heading 5 and heading 6. Those we don't have in the WYSIWYG, but you have the option to use full HTML to add those in. If I do so, I will start out with the, a bit. So the basic anatomy, and let me show you the basic anatomy of an element first. So depending on the element name, instead of P is for paragraph, the element name for what we're going to use right now is going to be H5 to represent heading 5. But the basic construction is the opening tag needs the bracket, opening bracket on the left. The name of the element, like I said, will be H5, and then the closing bracket. The content in the middle is what you're applying that HTML tag to. So essentially what content you are trying to format. And so because you are with the opening tag applying the formatting to what comes next, you need to have a closing tag to tell the system, stop the formatting there. Otherwise, your opening tag will apply to everything that follows. And the closing tag is exactly the same as the opening tag. The only difference is the / before the element name. So coming back over, I'm just, going to drop in my opening tag. So opening bracket H5 closing bracket. This is a less important header. And once I'm ready to close that, I again opening bracket / H5 closing bracket. From there, I haven't actually tried to swap back to WYSIWYG. So let's see if it allows me to. Okay. If I swap back to WYSIWYG, it's not going to show me what I just added. We can obviously see this kind of looks like the paragraph text. But if you have added that in, the only reason I swapped back to WYSIWYG was so that if I needed, I can add more text, and it's much easier to type it in from the WYSIWYG side. But because we added that, it is still holding that HTML tag that we added. We just need to swap that back to full HTML so that the system recognizes it as a heading 5 rather than just paragraph text. Let's go ahead and save
Wait,
that
how do you turn it off?
for the heading 5.
Yeah.
You do need to go back into either to go through the HTML. Let's go into there.
Well, it
So
looks like it did turn it off. If you look at what you have there,
turn
it
it
looks
off
like
as in,
the second line wasn't as that big. It went back to more text.
oh, I see. Yes, that is a very good question. The when you're working with a heading, it is going to automatically stop when you press enter and go to a new line. So as you add the text to the top line, you can continue typing on one continuous line and it will continue as heading 5. As soon as you press enter or the return key, the system is automatically restarting you at paragraph style.
That's in WYSIWYG. In WYSIWYG, because in HTML, you put that ending thing on there, right?
Yeah, that's specifically in WYSIWYG. So when it comes to, let's see, when it comes to working in full HTML, let me get, well, leave that there, but this is, this is what we first added through the full HTML side. I specified the heading 5. I put the content that I wanted to make a change to, and then I closed that heading 5. By going over to WYSIWYG and pressing enter, the system assumes this paragraph, the opening and the closing. As soon as I start typing the text, then that's what the text is being wrapped around with these paragraph elements. And that's just automatically what WYSIWYG does. Instead of going that route and swapping to WYSIWYG and adding that text, you definitely can start typing here. If, let's say, you simply started typing your text directly from full HTML, adding, let's see what that does. That should still, the system should still drop it to the next line without us specifying that it was a new paragraph, just because of, just because of the header and the way that it behaves. It will always drop whatever comes after it to the next line, as long as it has this closing tag. And that goes for paragraphs too. If you're working if you're working with any of these headers, you'll notice that, let's see, let's go back and just work with WYSIWYG with the headers that WYSIWYG supplies. So if I have, this here is set to heading 2. Whoops. We'll leave that set to heading 2, but as soon as I press enter, I am swapped back to paragraph automatically. And so that's the same thing that happens when you're working on the full HTML side. The heading will still exclude every other bit of text, even if it's coming directly after the closing tag. And then similarly to how we were talking, when we were talking about the table with Lynette's question about how to add a widget into a table, and I used the word dino to kind of find my spot again. That idea of typing in a word to find my spot, I use that a lot, especially when I'm swapping between WYSIWYG and full HTML. So I'm going to do that now because the next thing I want to show you is how to add, you can add a horizontal line with within the full HTML. So I want to make sure I find my spot again. So I'm hoping, I don't think I'm going to have the word green anywhere else on this page. So when I swap to full HTML, I can obviously already see it visually, but if I didn't see it, immediately, I can Control F to bring up my search function and look for that word. And so that tells me where I need to replace. The tag or the HTML tag for a horizontal line is pretty easy. The same construction of open angled bracket, and it is HR or horizontal line. And then make sure that that has a closing bracket as well. The other nice thing about the horizontal line tag is that you don't need a closing bracket. It just has one piece. And that is just telling the system, that's exactly where I want the line to go. And it should be responsive to whatever screen size it's being viewed on. So mobile users and computer users alike should see that it's like 100% of their screen, not just extending further and further. So I placed that in. Just like with any other HTML, you can preview it by swapping back to WYSIWYG. So I can see it here. And the reason I have some extra space here, there's just extra paragraph lines there. I can get rid of it just by backspacing when I'm in WYSIWYG. The space after, don't backspace, but delete instead. But that, if we are previewing it in WYSIWYG, we are able to see that the horizontal line has been translated. We need to set it back to full HTML again before we save. It's just like the embed code, just because it's a change to the HTML. And once we save that, yeah, so that is just going to the full content or the full width of the content area.
Oh, that's great.
And yeah, I feel that I see a lot of times MyLO sites will have text added as a dividing line instead. And so the only downside to text is that we all know that different screen sizes are going to be coming across our sites, and the text may fall to a second line for smaller devices. So yeah, this responsive, the fact that it's responding to whoever or whichever device is viewing this content is very nice.
So you just typed kind of this, I guess, is that like the beginning caret HR and then the close caret and that made the line?
Yeah,
Okay.
and no other
Yeah.
tag is needed. So let's see, let's add it to another, whoops, add it to another page.
You can manipulate its thickness and things if you really want to be.
Yeah, that is true too. Those are the, like the width and the height, those are the attributes of an HTML element. So let's, we have the randomest words popping into my head.
You live in Sacramento. I guess you have to go up to the mountains for the igloos.
Yeah, it must be 1 degree below 60 and I'm freaking out. No. But we replace that and I'll just leave it. Whoops, actually. It is not set to full HTML, so I want to do that here. And that is the only thing after you add in that line. It did that thing to me earlier, the same thing as earlier, where it added kind of an extra line of space above and below. And if that happens, just you can backspace or delete this one, and then the space under delete only. If you backspace, it will most likely get rid of your horizontal line. Oh, and then also, let's talk about one piece, or it is an HTML element that you can actually drop in using your WYSIWYG toolbar. And it's super helpful if, I can actually go back. I'm going to show you the documentation because this is where I made use of this, this strategy, whatever you would want to call it. So on this line here, you can tell that there's kind of some extra space after the word the. Naturally, this word add was sitting up here. But what it was doing was it was separating the word add from the ellipses, and I didn't want that to happen. So the way I was able to prevent that was by using the non-breaking space. It was an element that we saw earlier. That looks like that. Oh, sorry. There we go. That is going to visually still provide us an empty space, but it is going to make the words or the content kind of stick together. So let's come back over here. What I want to do is, let's see, I'm going to need some more text. So I'm just going to make this run on. And so let's say that I'd like to see membership dues add fall onto the next line. Actually, sorry, I'm trying to get myself coordinated. What we're going to do is the other way with the text that is hanging down to the second line. I'm going to specify some spaces in between so that the add and the word to are going to be linked to each other. So I get rid of the actual space that I added with my space bar, and using the symbol insert special character icon, I can drop in this non-breaking space. It's the first one there, so I can either hit enter or click it. Visually, we do not see any difference, but on the HTML side, these two words are interpreted as one. They're going to always be linked together. And I can do it again if after I save this, you know, I want to make sure that to and our are linked as well. I just go back into insert special character and select the non-breaking space. Let's see what that looks like. We should now have, okay. So Sorry about that. I probably should have checked that out first. Let's try that again, this time with know that, now that I actually see where the words are now lying on the page. I want know to be on the same line as that, because naturally it is being taken up on the first line. So same idea that I did before, but now we should actually see the text move. So instead of using that space that I added with my space bar, let's add that non-breaking space. And save. And the non-breaking space, you don't have to change it to the full HTML to see its result. So this allowed me to drop it down to the next line without requiring me to start a new paragraph, because we all know that starting a new paragraph can give a little bit of padding, like above and below that line. And then I also didn't have to have a new bullet if I didn't, you know, if that was what I wasn't trying to do. The non-breaking space is a little bit easier to manipulate in that way. I will say that with the non-breaking space, when it comes to, let's just see what it looks like on a phone. Here we go. Because of the size of a phone screen, you know, that the way that the text looks on the page is going to be a different layout on a phone screen. So those non-breaking spaces might not be as important, or they won't show an effect on the phone.
Yeah, Amaris.
Yes.
If you want it to break within a bullet, then you can do a carriage return, right? Because there's two different, can you insert that to make it go to the next line?
Like if you wanted it to be the next bullet, but indented.
Yeah, like not, I don't know what's wrong with my voice today. Sorry about this. I've been not feeling well, and I think it's, anyway, sorry about that. But, you know, like a carriage return instead of a paragraph break will cause something to go to the next line. So it's kind of like the opposite of the non-breaking space. The non-breaking space makes sure stuff stays together.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you have a particular phrase and you always want it to be on the same line, you would use the non-breaking space. But if you want to break up a bullet without creating a new bullet, then you would use a carriage return or a line break, That's the word I'm looking for.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that one up, because that one totally slipped my mind. A line break is exactly like Maddie explained. It will create a new line without requiring the bullet, or you won't have any padding if if it were a paragraph line. So sorry,
Yeah,
I'm going to jump back.
Keep it from doing like extra space, you know, the above and below space with a paragraph. It'll eliminate all of that kind of thing.
Yeah. So
I
I'm going to
usually-
add the word. Go
I
ahead, Liz.
usually do it with a space return, a shift return. If you
Yeah,
hold
that's a line feed.
right. So I can just do it in the WYSIWYG.
Ah, yes. I've never tried that. So that's super helpful. That is really probably better. Well, not probably, it's definitely better than having to go into the HTML side.
Let's look at the HTML and see what that did.
Yeah. So let's see. It did a line break. So this is what a line break looks like in HTML. Similar to the horizontal line, it's just one element, but this time it's BR inside of the brackets. Awesome. That I'm very happy that I've learned that, because that's like not just one little thing. That feels like a very big thing. That's great. So again, shift, enter or return gives you a line break And it's like a paragraph. I would say when it comes to our own WYSIWYG like provided formattings, it's similar to the DIV, but in some occasions, it will be better than the DIV to do the line break with a shift return. Let me save that so we can see. I'm going to set it to get rid of those spaces. Whoops. Just so that we can see the horizontal line with all of these images. Yeah. And so these line breaks work anywhere, not just in bulleted lists. You can have a line break anywhere that you have text. I mean, you can add a line break even before or after images, whatever content is in your WYSIWYG area, you can use that shift enter.